And no making reference to anything that requires the internet. Every reference you make has to be something that I don't need to challenge you on.
Go! Play Brotherhood! Play Brotherhood! Nick are out of control. They would crash the airwaves with a microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. All the ladies now to go close. Play Brotherhood! Play Brotherhood!
I wanted to make a few clarifications about last episode after I'd just been fired from my job. Because I was listening back with you while you were editing it, and I just kind of come across like an asshole. And I think I was too drunk, and I was still in shock mode. So there are a few things that I intend to clarify.
We recorded that the day you got fired, right?
Yeah.
It was that day.
That night.
And that was the Nico episode.
Yes. But before we even get to that, the only reason I bring it up, because if that has to happen to me, which it obviously did, there couldn't be a more perfect timing for your house sitting gig. This is like the perfect escape area.
Yeah.
We should explain a little bit. You're a regular Michael Landon around here.
Yeah.
Minus the bedwetting.
Well, we're house sitting for Aunt Lori, and
By we, you mean you, your wife, and your daughter.
right. Yeah.
They don't even know that I'm here, do they?
No. Well, I told him you were coming.
Oh, okay. Did you tell them I lost my job?
No. It was before that. When,
okay.
When you were going to come later. So we come out here. It's in Natchez. It's like 10 miles away from Yakima, and there's so much responsibility here. It's ridiculous.
Well, let's describe how big the house is. Have you gone around and done a bedroom count yet?
I think there's 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1.5 bathrooms upstairs, and then I don't know how much is downstairs. It's a really weird.
I was thinking like
eccentrically
11 total. Let's just throw that out there.
11 bedrooms?
Yeah.
No, there's not 11 bedrooms.
Well, most of these closets I would consider a bedroom.
There's a reading room. We're in an office.
Yeah.
There's a living room, a dining room, a kitchen. It's built so weirdly, but I guess that this is like a really old manufactured home. Like they had a whole series of them.
Yeah, when you had guests over the other night for poker, somebody said that they were able to estimate exactly when this house was built, pretty much, just based on its structure.
Who said that?
Some asshole.
Oh
I know they're all your friends.
Some asshole. Wow.
I honestly don't remember who said that.
It might have been Gabe. I can't really vouch for that guy. It's impossible to close all the doors here.
Oh, man. It takes 3 times. You got to slam it and feel like you're going to break it.
Yeah.
Everything feels breakable in this house. And
Yeah.
guess what? I proved that when I broke the toilet. All I did was go to flush it, and the handle came completely off.
Yeah. Well, luckily, Janine will listen.
I've got no
to
sound
the
in my
show.
headphones.
They're coming.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about how the sprinklers have taken hold of your life. Have you had any nightmares, like anxiety dreams about the sprinklers?
No. God, no. Surprisingly, no. I might now. I've been too busy stabbing myself and cutting my fingers off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, the sprinklers, there's 4 of them, and they're the kind that spit around and they go and they run 24
Excellent
hours a day.
representation, by the way.
They run 24 hours a day, and we rotate them every 3 hours while we're awake. And
Have you been sticking to that 3 hours?
yeah,
Every 3?
yeah, of course.
Okay.
But they break.
Oh, Lori and Janine are going to listen. Is that why you're giving me that look?
No, there's no look. Obviously, there's no look. I stick to it, but they break. They just break apart, and I don't even understand how those sprinklers work. So I try to put them together. We already had to call and ask them where a first aid kit is. And then I locked the gate behind me when I left, so Alvina had to call to find out where another gate key was.
Yeah, after I ran the 8 miles to that gate with different sets of keys, hoping they would work.
Wow.
I know how it is, though.
That's when Alvina really loves that you're here, by the way. I honestly believe she would have had a meltdown had she had to do that herself. She would have been so angry about that, even though we knew there was extra keys.
Yeah, we just had to find them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it did result in Alvina calling Lori from, I think they're in D.C. or something.
Yeah.
And they're gone for 10 days. You already said that?
Yeah.
And you guys are, what, 3 days in?
3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.
Oh.
I don't know why I'm getting so hung up on days.
But when you're house sitting, like, you want to feel like you have complete control. So then when something happens, like you cut your hand in half or the sprinkler or toilet miraculously breaks, like you need to call in those situations. And it's never, and Aunt Lori's obviously the coolest person in the world and wouldn't give a shit. But the first time I ever came out here to this amazing place was probably, I don't know, 5-6 months ago. And I went and sat out on one of their benches when I was smoking a cigarette, and it like broke in half. The very weight of me.
A lot of stuff, they're collectors, and a lot of stuff is very old.
I know, so I don't know what of it I'm not supposed to touch or sit on. There's a lot of furniture that I know I'm not supposed to sit on, which is confusing.
I sit on things that I've seen other people sit on before.
Yeah, but you've been here more than me just to hang out.
That's true. I was a little worried. I feel so embarrassed talking about having a poker game over here because that's where I do worry about...
Yeah, but no, it's not like people were throwing vases around or anything.
No. It was intimate friends. In fact, Lori's met them all at mine and Alvina's wedding. Or most of them.
Yeah, Gabe wasn't at your wedding.
No, Gabe wasn't there. Gabe was a curveball. But
we're, of course, talking about Gabe Kaplan.
Yeah.
Poker player, right?
Yeah, exactly. We go outside to smoke right before recording now. And we're all set up. Finally, we had to.
Let's describe that smoke break right before the show.
Yeah,
little huddle. What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, exactly. And we had just figured out. We found some ice downstairs. We put it in a cooler.
Yeah,
we got a beer cooler here now.
It's almost like we're camping, except for the computers and cords.
We go out to smoke. Oh, we're just putting this off for a second longer. And one of the sprinklers is just completely in pieces, and you can't turn the hose off.
It's got to be the dogs, right? Because earlier when I went out there, one of the sprinklers was completely knocked over.
I don't know.
And they stick to the ground, so unless somebody came and pulled it out.
That one dog is pretty wet and dirty.
Yeah, that's true. He's been all up in that shit, I'll bet.
There. All right, well, it's the dog's fault then. But, yeah, I put it together best I could, but we're going to keep an eye on that thing.
Dog sitting in addition to house sitting.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole reason we're here is for the dogs.
Yeah. You've really got a lot on your plate for this 10 days, though.
The house would be fine. There'd be a lot less broken things.
It's true. I feel bad. Like, every time I come here, I break something. But that toilet handle was ready to break anyway. Yeah. I'm sorry if they've been touching it ever so gingerly for 20 years.
And you know what? I'm going to figure that one out. It looks easy enough to put back together. God, I don't want to call them again.
And this goes back to not having internet again. We could Google how to fix this. Yeah. Probably.
And then what? An ashtray spontaneously broke.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that broke?
Let's do. I thought we broke that ceramic coaster, but you said it was already broken.
Yeah, that one was broken.
Then we're good. We're good. No, but all of it was our fault. Like, you could blame it on the poker buddies, though, assuming that they don't hear this. There were a lot of people here. Of course, then you're irresponsible anyway.
Just to clarify, that is not what happened. This shit did not get broken during a poker game.
Let's go back to that ashtray for a second, though, because this is the second time in my life now that I've seen it. And the first time I was living with Kelly, who's been on the show, Andy, her boyfriend, also been on the show. We all had a great place together in Tacoma, and I had a glass ashtray that I would sit out on the porch when I smoked. And I remember one night I'd gone out there, and it was pretty full with butts. And, like, I think it had slimed over a little bit, like it had rained. I should have cleaned it out, and I didn't. But it had been sitting there for weeks, and it was dry again at this point. And I went out there, and it was just, like, broken into 4 separate pieces, like, almost exactly down the middle. Yeah. And we couldn't figure out how it happened. And Ghost. Was
it a big ashtray?
Ghost?
Like a big restaurant ashtray, or just like one small one?
No, it's like that one that just broke out here today.
Yeah, okay.
And it's the same fucking thing. Like, I know that neither of us went out there and broke it. But we could blame it on the dogs. Let's blame everything on the dogs.
Yeah, but then they
busted in the bathroom, tried to flush the toilet.
The cigarette butts would be strewn all over the place.
They aren't. They're all still in there.
Right. That's what makes it so weird. Clearly, it's just something with the weather change or something like that makes it break.
I don't know. I'm breaking my own rule and bringing up things that the internet would help. It seems almost supernatural to me.
Yeah.
No?
No, not at all. It's obviously something like they just break over time, whatever they're made of. It's not a coincidence that they're always ashtrays.
Yeah, I suppose not. And before I'd gotten fired and knew that I was going to be, here for 5 days and running, like, I was still going to come for the weekend, and because I knew that you guys were house sitting, and you said you were going to have a Wii/poker/hot tub party, which of course didn't happen. It wasn't a party.
Yeah, it was like a party for us.
Are you only so nervous today because I keep saying things that make you sound bad?
I was trying to. I'm being honest here. I was trying to say like a party, like a party of 3.
Yeah. So so I'd been looking forward to the hot tub, and then when I thought I was leaving this morning, we were like, we got to get in the hot tub. We got to get in the hot tub. There's also a barbecue out there. You'd grilled up some steaks, which mine was pink, but I ate the shit out of it, man. It was pretty good. You didn't even finish yours. In fact, I went and finished yours later.
Really?
In a high drunken stupor.
It had been refrigerated, thawed, refrigerated. And then you woke up in the morning and you put them back in the freezer.
I thought I was helping.
And that leaves the meat in the danger zone for too long. So everyone's all skeptical to eat it. And that had happened with the steaks and the hamburger patties. So I was a little nervous knowing I had to work at 10 a.m. this morning. I didn't want to get like too bad of food poisoning.
Right.
Although I ate 2 hamburgers and half of a huge steak.
So earlier when you were preparing this food, why am I telling your story? Sorry.
Well, the day before, I had started to barbecue, and the plan was just to barbecue for me, you, and Alvina. But then, like, Har got here, and that guy Gabe came, and these guys are, like, barbecuing pros, and I was just doing everything wrong. So they took over.
And the sweat hog showed up, and it was really a party.
Yeah. And then so I was doing everything wrong, and then the next day we're re-barbecuing everything. Everything's been frozen again, and that's pretty important to the story. And I think after they're thawed and then refrozen, like they melt together or something, because they're like really so much worse than the first time.
Right.
I worked with those hamburger patties. So I grabbed this big fucking knife and I'm chopping at it between the hamburger patties.
And I was hanging out with you in the kitchen as this was going on, and I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to be the dickhead older brother still pretending to look out for you. Like, you're a father. You're a husband.
I wouldn't have taken it
You know
that way.
not to take a knife.
No, to be honest, I kept thinking about how stupid I was being.
And you work in the food industry.
Yeah, and on the same hand, I obliterated my index.
Oh, yeah. Have
finger.
we not mentioned that on the show before?
I don't think so.
That was only like a month or two ago.
Yeah, in a blender. Like, I tore it up.
A significant chunk of your finger is now gone.
No, it's all back now.
Oh,
it was like
it was gone last time I saw it.
No, it was hanging down.
Oh, gross.
I should have got stitches, but I didn't, man. And I really should have gotten stitches after last night. But I would wedge the knife in between the two very frozen together hamburger patties, and then just start like bashing it against the table, and then I end up like holding it in my left hand, pointing the knife on the other side of the hamburger patties directly at my left hand with just the hamburger patties separating it. And I just push with all my might, and it goes right through the hamburger. Like, that was the one that cut off so easily. It just went straight through.
This is going to make me pass out.
And I just stuck myself right through the palm of my hand. Like,
And the first thing you were, fuck, I knew I was going to do it.
yeah.
And I had to leave. Like I said, I was hanging out with you in the kitchen. And I think I was going to check on your daughter in the living room, and I heard that happened, and I just fucking stayed in there.
Yeah.
I cannot handle the sight of blood.
It wasn't like a big slash. It's like a little, like a fucking puncture wound, and it went deep in it, and it hurts my hand so bad to talk about this right now.
It hurts my hand too.
But
at least it was your left hand, though. Can we say that?
Yeah. The same fucking hand as the blender hand. I cover it with my thumb, and I push down on it so hard, and like I can feel the heartbeat through it and stuff like that.
All right, dude, seriously.
And then I go to the sink, and there's like blood forming.
You keep moving way away.
Oh, sorry. There's like blood forming all under my thumb, and then I look on the kitchen floor, and there's a lot of blood there.
Ugh.
And I just held it down, and every time for like 15, 20 minutes, every time I would take my hand off it, it would just spurt blood.
Okay.
Just spurt blood. So I'd hold it for longer and hold my hands above my head, and I'm still the one that needs to barbecue. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The barbecue's going.
Although, can I tell you, I had a slight panic because the steaks were thawed. You're getting ready. Barbecue's ready to go. And then I thought maybe he's going to cut himself so bad that we have to go to the emergency room, and then who's going to cook my fucking steak?
The whole time I was over the sink, I was thinking I have to go to the emergency room. I thought I cut I don't even know if there's.
You
anything,
should have gone to the.
I don't know if there's
room.
anything in there, but like I might have cut a tendon or something like that. But after like,
can we stop right here?
What?
Just for a second. We can. I still want to keep on the story,
Okay.
but let's not talk about the spurting or the blood anymore.
Okay.
At least for a little bit.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared for. I knew we were going to talk about
You're
it,
right. It is really gross, and it's grossing me out too.
but at the risk of sounding really gay for you, I will say that when it happened. Like I said, I was just pacing in the living room, pretending to keep an eye on Sophie, and your wife was in there helping you. But the whole time, you were a fucking champ. You were just like, "Oh shit!" You were like so monotone and the same guy you always are. And I was like, I would be fucking screaming hysterically, probably.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I was really scared that I was gonna have to go to the hospital too. I was like, this whole night is fucking over.
Yeah.
But no, I'll wrap it up right now with the gross stuff. After like 20 minutes. I take my thumb off, and then it would wait like 10, 15 seconds before the blood started coming out again. And not as hard. So then...
And you're drinking this whole time, right?
Oh, yeah. So then I put the towel on it, and I'm holding the towel against the wound with all my left fingers, and I barbecued with my right hand. And then after it was over... It
sounds so much trashier, but last night I was just thinking about the steak, man.
Yeah.
I started to get concerned for you again once I was full. After eating my steak and half of yours.
And the food was delicious.
It was delicious.
And by the time it was ready, like I just like put I really put a lot of pressure on it, and then I was able to eat steak. And
yeah, until that night, like I said, we got into the hot tub.
I forgot.
Your wife had gone to bed. Sophie was sleeping. And so we decided we got to get in this hot tub before we record, which we never did.
Yeah.
But that's what tonight's for. So we're in the hot tub probably for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And how hot was the hot tub?
How many lighters had you dropped in the hot tub at that point?
All right. How many...
the hot tub is confusing to me. We're stuck at 104. I'd like it to get a little bit hotter, but right now it's at 104.
Before we continue, I did drop a lighter. I did state that I was out of control. You should have known not to hand me things like that.
Yeah.
But you dropped the pipe in there that we were smoking pot out of.
That was
much later. Anyway, so we're in the hot tub, 5-10 minutes, and I'm looking over at you, and then you're like, "Oh fuck, I'm bleeding again." Oh, did I jump ahead?
No. This is something I didn't even tell you when it happened. It was you had dropped the lighter and you ran inside, and when you ran inside, I didn't have my hand outside the hot tub anymore. I just wasn't thinking.
Oh, there wasn't blood in the hot tub, was there?
No.
Okay.
Because I go way down into the hot tub, and then I go, oh fuck, and I remember my hand, so I come back up and I put it off to the side, and then
it's like jumping into a pool with your wallet.
Yeah. You come back in. I've got a cigarette, and then I think you handed me something, so I moved the cigarette to my left hand. And then there's just blood streaming all down my arm.
Thankfully, it was dark enough to where I could only just barely see it.
Yeah.
But once you'd said it, I was like, oh, God, I'm going to pass out again.
I feel like Lori and Janine are going to, like, fucking hate me after this episode comes out. I made it.
Why? Because you bled?
This blood did not get in the hot tub.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
My arm was hanging off the side. So I said, okay, I got to
Although walking into the kitchen, I think, to get that lighter, I saw a wadded up paper towel with all of your blood in it in the kitchen sink. That was really gross.
There's Lysol and shit for that.
PJ, calm down. Of course there's Lysol for that. You think nobody else has ever bled in the 20 years Janine's lived here?
And also we could never find a first aid kit, and that's when Alvina texted her, but we never found it. So I run inside, and then I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot, and I finally get it to stop bleeding. I'm like, obviously I can't be in the hot tub. I'm drinking. My body temperature is up. So I tell you, we got to get out of the
this
hot
whole time
tub.
we should have been in the emergency room.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. You didn't tell me. You were like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I can't go back in there. You're welcome to stay in. And it's like, yeah, why don't I hang out in this hot tub by myself?
But for a little bit, I was hanging out outside the hot tub, and you were in there. And then you got out to smoke a cigarette.
And your wife came out, who we thought was asleep.
All of a sudden, my wife comes out.
Yeah. And she starts telling me some gross stories about when she was in labor with Sophie, because I was talking about my queasiness with blood, and she took this as an opening to see if she could make me pass out.
And I want this said. You guys got in the hot tub.
Yeah, we did, buddy.
I can't get in the hot tub. I waited on you guys hand and foot.
Yeah, you did.
I had cigarettes in pockets. I had to sneak into Sophie's room where Sophie was sleeping to get a lighter. We did not want to wake her up because 2 lighters were now wet.
Okay, only one of them was technically my fault.
And so I was waiting on you guys hand and foot, and at some point I leaned over and the pipe fell out of my shirt pocket and into the hot tub.
And I felt vindicated.
It was an empty pipe. No weed got in the hot tub.
That's true, PJ. That's true. You are really fucking freaking out. Let's go smoke a cigarette, yeah?
No, we don't need to yet. We don't have enough recorded yet.
Okay, PJ.
We got like 10 more minutes before the break.
I thought you were...
We can take a break if you want.
I thought you were begging me for a break.
No, yeah.
Play Brotherhood!
The kid's got alligator blood.
It's really great having you here and all, but I hate it when I do my awkward things, and I know you hear me, like when I was talking to Red on the phone yesterday, and I was like, all right, man, catch ya.
To be fair, did you know I was in earshot? Because before I even had a chance to make fun of you, you're like, catch ya.
I turned around and I knew you were right there.
It was so funny.
It was
because it wasn't a conversation that involved you being funny at all. Like, you had a question.
Yeah.
And then you hung up and said, catch ya.
It was that awkward thing where like we're like, all right, man, thanks. Yeah, give me a call next week. Okay, like I didn't know when we were gonna hang up, so I started to say catch you later, but he was already saying bye, or I think bye. Red says, and
bye is almost as bad as catch you though.
Alvina says bye.
Oh God.
Alvina also says thank you a lot to me when she hangs up the phone from a work habit.
Oh yeah, that's gotta make you feel good.
Yeah, so
you're welcome.
Yeah. So that was embarrassing.
Even when we do see each other now, which is a lot more often than we used to, like since the show, every other weekend or so, but only for a night or two at a time, whereas now it's been 5 nights. So, of course, there are things that you don't want me to see that I'm going to catch you doing. Breakfast was a little awkward yesterday, only because you said right at the beginning when we sat down, this is awkward. Then I didn't know how to play off of that.
I don't even remember saying that.
Of course you don't. You're still hungover, probably.
I thought breakfast was delightful. Our waitress really took forever.
No. I'm not talking. I'm talking about breakfast here. Breakfast here at the house with your wife and daughter. All 4 of us around the family table.
Oh yeah, I remember saying that. What did we eat? I think I was hungover. When I left for work today, Alvina was making sausages. Did you get in on some of that?
Yeah, she actually knocked on my door and asked if I wanted breakfast. It was really nice of her.
What kind of breakfast was it?
I don't want to leave. Just eggs and sausage. Sausage was a little overcooked. Thank you, Alvina.
Yeah, she's an overcooker. Alvina's not the best cook. Alvina gets into like kicks where like she's really into making pancakes from scratch now, and they taste like booty. And the batter's so thick.
You've told
and the
me that, but I think
so fat.
I don't even like pancakes, but when she makes them, they taste fine to me.
I like pancakes that are watered down a little more, like thinner pancakes.
Like
I
the
love
gross
thin pancakes, especially from scratch. I like thin ones.
All right.
You pile like
because when you say thin, I just think of the stuff that comes from the powder or the Bisquick or whatever.
No, but even those, like Alvina prefers a thicker pancake that sponges in all the syrup.
You don't like that shit?
No, man, I want a thin one. I drench my stuff.
Gross. You do drench a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You order a lot of extra sauces when the waiter comes around.
Every now and then, after, like, if I make French toast just on a whim by myself, it's usually like 5 p.m., I will eat it like an asshole, like in 30 seconds, and then I've been known to lick the plate. Especially if there's little scrambled egg remnants on there.
You have no shame,
There's
sir.
so much
that's
extra
so
syrup
gross.
in there.
Oh.
I remember Chris Klein doing that in daycare and just making me want to puke. But I do it.
And he later went on to star in Rollerball, Chris
Yeah.
Klein.
God, what if that was the same Chris Klein?
I wish it was. He wishes it was. Ever since American Pie came out, he's like, God damn it, that is so far from me. I also happen to know that you like a little ketchup in your macaroni and cheese. Disgusting.
No, that is not true.
Maybe I'm mistaking you for somebody that's not my brother.
I hate macaroni and cheese, first of all.
But you love ketchup. That's why I thought maybe it was you.
I like ketchup like on scrambled eggs and French fries.
Okay, that's scrambled eggs is gross.
No.
French fries, I'm just not big into ketchup anyway.
I have seen people like Pat Williams' daughter like just pour so much ketchup on scrambled eggs, like in a restaurant once. Like that's just eating ketchup.
Yeah, and that's what grosses me out.
Yeah.
Another, like, once your wife was done grossing me out talking about her labor in the hot tub the other night, she goes on to tell me about her sister when they were growing up. Oh, no, this was today that she told me. Doesn't matter. She would eat ketchup packets and ranch. That's gross.
That's
There's
so
something
gross.
wrong with you as a child.
Do you remember these two kids? I don't know if it was after you had left Baker, our middle school, and I was still there. Because by the time I was in 7th grade, you were out of there. We only shared 1 year together. It might have been 7th or 8th grade. There was these kids. There was this one kid named Michael, and he was so weird. He wasn't retarded or
Daycare kid?
no. He went to Baker.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Daycare, baker.
And you'd see him in the cafeteria, like he just acted so weird. Like you would think that like he was retarded. I'm such an asshole. I know no better way to do it. I don't know, autistic or something like that, but he wasn't, because he wasn't in like the autistic classes. He was in normal classes, but he was so weird, and like he'd make noises and stuff. I didn't have any classes with him, but I had lunch with him, and they would always just bring in, like, these kids were like piss broke. They would bring in paper bags, and they would take those,
now I remember. Gross.
you know, those jar things of ranch and stuff like that. They would dump ranch and Thousand Island on those paper bags and eat it with their fingers.
Yeah, free lunch.
And they would sit together at a table and do it, and people would just fucking make fun of them. I'm sure I went up there and made a snide comment or two.
So they're just eating ranch out of a paper bag, like it's a trough?
Not in the paper bag. Like, they would fold the paper
Oh,
bag
I
down and
see,
use it
okay.
like as a plate or something like
Gross.
that. Even though I'm sure they could get a plate, like, they just insisted on doing it, and it was so gross. And they'd always have snappy comebacks for anybody who said anything to them. It was so fucking weird. The blonde kid's name was Michael. I can't remember what the other kid's name was.
Yeah. School lunches is what turned me off to pickles. It was at that same time, I think 7th or 8th grade. We've talked about this before, but where I was just convinced I was gay, and I was so terrified that I was. Like
Yeah, we talked about how I went through the same thing. Why didn't we talk to each other more back then?
We were just punching each other in the face.
We might have started touching each other.
And so, like, I'm basically a strict homophobe at this point, because I feel like it's the only way. So I'm calling everybody a fag. This is, 8th grade when I'm learning all the good
I think I
words
took
that are
a
out
more
there.
sensitive approach to it. I think I was studying the gay people, getting ready to join
Did you
the
know gay
ranks.
people in 7th or 8th grade?
No. Well, I knew kids who were fags.
And I remember I just had it in my head because PE was the big one for me. Like, I was always looking at guys in shorts, and I was just like, quit looking at their junk,
No,
dude.
I just looked at that for so long.
I'll bet that guy saw. He probably thinks I'm gay. Am I gay? But it was around that same time, and I was at lunch, and some kid was eating a pickle, and I just got it in my head that it was a dick. And then, seriously, because I had liked pickles up
You
until
might
this
have been
point.
gay.
Not because I wanted to think about it. These thoughts were forcing themselves into my mind.
Yeah, like, you just think it because it's on your mind all the time.
Right.
About how everything I do is so gay. Like, what's that pickle? Does that pickle look like a dick to me? You want to suck it?
And we of course mean gay in the derogatory. And I don't know if that ties back to religion, like, because Jehovah's Witnesses, obviously, as we were growing up as. But they're not.
There's no way mom and dad like were accepting of gay people either.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially dad. Mom would probably pretend it, at least in this point in her life.
Mm-hmm. At this point in her life, but back then she would just agree with dad.
Because she bought the rainbow bumper sticker thinking that it was pretty, and now she just accepts it.
I remember once when I was going through that whole I think I'm involuntarily gay thing. And I remember once I was so convinced that dad knew because
He knew what, though?
that I was gay.
Yeah, but
Because we were in the living room and like Denise had come to No, I don't think so. Melissa was about 3 years old at this
our little
point.
sister, yeah.
Yeah. And, she was already developmentally delayed at that point.
Did we know at 3 years old? I've been meaning to ask you
Well,
that.
she took forever to walk and stuff like that.
Oh,
So in
yeah.
hindsight, sure.
Yeah.
But Dad's holding Melissa in the living room, and I'm sitting there, and it's just on my mind all the time. And he's talking to Melissa I want to make that very clear. He's talking to Melissa.
Got it.
I am pretending that there's a telephone or something like that. And he's like, say hello, hello. And he's trying to get Melissa to repeat.
Classic dad.
And he says, say hello, girlfriend. And I was like, girlfriend, like lesbian, like gay, like she would have a girlfriend. And then he
Wait.
goes,
You jumped from girlfriend
yeah,
to lesbian.
to that. He said, say hello, girlfriend. Hello, Uncle Bill. And I thought, if Melissa has a girlfriend, that means that she's gay. And Uncle Bill, remember, was married to our cousin Michelle. And everyone talked about how gay he was all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And
He
I was
was
like,
gay.
that
He was
is
gay.
two gay comments right there. I was like, Dad knows I'm gay. And I remember once like making out like a reasons I am and a reasons I'm not columns. And one of them, these are such weird memories. One of them was Dad. I was on the couch like sleeping at night. And Dad was watching The Crush with Alicia Silverstone on the TV.
I enjoyed that movie a lot as a teenager.
And there's a scene where Carrie Elwes unbuttons his shirt and takes off his shirt. And I was looking at it. I was like, gay to look at, gay to look at. And I remembering that when I was writing out the reasons I am gay.
So you actually wrote that down?
Yeah.
Carrie Elway's strapping chest.
But at no point did like I ever want to touch a dick or anything like that.
No, I know.
There was no reason.
It was
to think
only a thought because you thought that was the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Which sounds horrible. Like people that are gay aren't afraid by those thoughts or feelings their whole growing up.
Well, that's definitely debatable.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
I realized what I said was the most idiotic thing in the world.
Well, yeah.
I didn't think about the
You
backlash.
You can't
I'm just saying-
broadly generalize. I'm sure some people are perfectly okay with it, and their parents are from the very beginning. I'm sure
Of
some
course.
parents raise their kids gay. Like,
Can I go back? I feel like I should go back.
Okay,
All I'm saying is that
but for some, it's very difficult.
for us, it was just like a stupid thought we had because we were so paranoid and socially awkward anyway. Like, let's just add this to the pile.
It's got to be down to the fact that we both thought it was weird, but it's got to be down to like religion. And something from mom and dad. Some sort of dad walking around naked all the time.
Yeah, which is true.
That uncircumcised cock of his.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piss with the door open. My sons are teenagers; they're old enough to recognize this. But,
No, we'd be watching TV. Like, you're 15, I'm 13. Well, I mean, all the way up until either one of us moved out. And he would just walk by completely nude.
yeah, he had a robe.
Yeah, this is not like peeing in with the door open and we can just like run by. Like, we're already sitting there and now he's walking across. And if we were to get up and like walk out the door or something like that, that would be a big thing.
Let me ask you this: when we were young enough to still have baths, do you remember Dad coming in and pissing like right there?
No, not specifically.
Neither
but,
do I, but it had to have happened.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Let's get off Dad's cock.
Okay.
I just got
I
off
just
of
got
yours.
off yours.
Play Brotherhood.
That's unbeatable.
How many professional poker players do you think I could name? Just last names.
Just last names?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't that count?
Let me think. Okay.
First and last name if I know it as that.
Okay. I'm going to say, I'm trying to think of how many poker shows you watch with me. You definitely watch a lot of like World Series of Poker main event with me.
Mm-hmm. Been watching the Poker After Dark.
National Heads Up Poker Championship.
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying
caught
to
some
think
of that.
who was on Poker After Dark this week. I'm going to say, okay, there's 1, 2, definitely.
2 definitely, yes.
3. I'm going to say under 6.
Definitely under 6.
Wow, under 3?
Do I even have to do it?
Yeah.
Now I'm embarrassed.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that wrong?
Junior.
Is that
I
a
don't know.
Strike against me. Daniel.
Negreanu.
You gotta let me do it,
Oh,
dude.
I'm sorry. I was just so
I was gonna ask for
excited.
help on pronunciation.
Those were
but-
the 2 I knew you would definitely know. 'Cause those are the 2 that like you've said their names to me before. So I'll give you Negreanu. I knew you knew that.
Johnny Chan,
Of course. From
of course. Doyle Brunson,
Yeah.
and Worm. I don't remember Worm's last name. All right, so you were right. Under 6. Hold on. Give me one more. Nope, that's it.
The Mouth.
The Mouth.
You know who the Mouth is?
Yeah. Goonies, star of Goonies.
Mike the Mouth Matisow. I've told you his story before.
No, what is his story?
This guy went through some rough times. He had some cocaine addictions, some overweightness, but every year at the World
those
Series,
usually don't go hand in hand.
Every year at the World Series, they let us know where he is in his life. He's known for being really loud and obnoxious at the table. That's why they call him the Mouth.
Much like Daniel Negro face.
He's lovable. Let's not talk about poker. This is interesting to nobody.
Especially
Except me.
I just wanted to,
I
wanted to see how many I could name, because I have been watching it more lately.
Do you hate when you come to my house and I just watch it for hours? It's if nothing's on, Saturday afternoon. What are we gonna watch? The game?
It's never a case of nothing being on, because
By
you
the
have
way,
DVR.
I mean the baseball game, football game, or the CW sitcom,
Not gonna mention Fincher's masterpiece, the game.
or maybe you're at a rap concert.
Oh yeah, you can't say that there's nothing to watch except for poker. And I'm going to sound like I'm going down a different road, because I actually don't mind watching poker. I enjoy it, but there are a lot of other things that you could be watching. You have DVR.
Really?
You got hours of Twilight Zone built up,
That's
50
true.
plus.
You'd rather
hours.
watch Twilight Zone?
No, of course not. That's why I don't put up a fuss when poker comes on. Plus, I'm sleeping on your couch, so even hanging out at my friend Margaret's, on Sunday morning, sometimes if nothing else is on the 3 channels she has to flip through, the national Heads Up has been on the last 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah.
And I get real into that, although not as into that, because I think it's more exciting when other players are involved. I recognize it always boils down to the two.
Yeah.
Especially on TV, it seems like.
There's so many. I like to watch pure poker. I like to watch the World Series because that's one long tournament. There's so many things.
Okay, I'll tell you what doesn't make it pure, though. Even talking World Series, everybody wearing their fulltiltpoker.net
Oh yeah.
hats and jackets.
Oh
and,
man.
And then having to watch their commercials every single break.
It's such a huge industry now. It's huge. The poker boom, the moneymaker effect.
Right.
But I'll tell you why things like what you were watching at Margaret's house and at my house, the National Heads Up Poker Championship, it is not I watched it. I definitely watched it, but it gets too much into just the ridiculous territory where it's how will this tournament make good TV? It's invitation only. Blinds go up every so often. I mean, extremely often. I'm sure no one's interested in this.
Ray Romano's sitting there with his Ice Age 3 hat on.
Not him. That was at the main event, and he paid to get in.
Okay,
that.
BJ. I'm
You know
just
what
trying
I
to
mean?
spice it up for the listener.
But no, what's wrong is that Brad Garrett shows up to this thing, and it's invite only, and the best poker players in the world are trying to get in it, but they got to reserve a spot for Brad Garrett so he can pull up his shirt and show his nipples to the camera.
Gross.
And just be the loudest, most obnoxious moron there is on earth. And Don Cheadle, because Don Cheadle has the Ante Up for Africa poker tournament every year. It's so ridiculous. And it's ridiculous that professional poker players like Annie Duke are going on the Celebrity Apprentice.
Right.
And there's good poker players, and then there's poker players who won a big tournament and then got a sports agent. They go out and they get sports agents who market them, and that's why Phil Hellmuth has his line of clothing. He can't do anything but act like an asshole on TV, because without that, he's nothing. He just has to try not to go too far.
So
But it is his personality.
Right. So Phil Hellmuth. I can't pronounce his fucking name.
You're bad.
Hellmuth. Right?
Yeah.
Closer? So Phil Hellmuth, how much do you think he makes a year just on endorsement deals? Throw me a number.
Not even just endorsement deals, man. That guy that makes personal appearances, it's 3 hours for $10,000.
So he'll go to your home game, or is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or he's just sitting there at a booth signing autographs?
And no. I'm talking about he'll give you a lesson. He'll give you a lesson for an hour, and then set up a tournament that you can all play in.
Unbelievable. Can I sit on his lap?
And you know how many rich fucking 30-something assholes who are so into their poker game are doing that? He makes a lot of money for that, and it's probably more like $10,000 an hour at this point. I don't know. That guy, it makes millions of dollars a year, not based on poker. That's for sure. He writes books. He does lots of things now. But you know what? He performs extremely well in tournaments.
Not that I've seen. I mean, I've only seen this bullshit that I watch at your house, but it seems like he's losing more often than not to me.
You know,
Don't you love it when an uneducated poker guy just comes out here, starts viewing his shit?
everybody loses except for first place, and you don't have to make first place every time to be very impressive. You know what I mean?
I saw him in that heads-up game, and that guy that looks like Adrian Brody knocked him out in like 3 hands.
Yeah, no, but that was like some online player, and he's like, "Oh, never mind."
Cut this out.
What I'm pissed about is that you were supposed to get severance and put me in a poker event.
Yeah, when I lost my job,
We're
I was
gonna make
expecting
lots of
severance that I didn't exactly get, but that was always your plan. When I thought I might be getting fired, and I told you, you're like, dude, whatever severance you get, just put that in my pocket. We'll go to Vegas. I can slurp on a fucking free drink.
Yeah, no, but I want to specifically play in a World Series of Poker event. I've had dreams that I win them.
How much does it cost to get into this?
I think you get into one for $1,500.
Oh, let's do it. I got at least that much coming
You
to
make
me.
the final table, it's like $30,000.
You don't think you'd be nervous working with my money? You just tune me out.
Well, you know, I would have to make you understand that if I was out in 20 minutes, that would be the same as if, you know, I finished in 40th place out of the money. You know what I mean? That's my style. I play aggressive. You saw me in the home game, right?
Yeah. You weren't the most aggressive at the table, though. This home game we had here the other night.
No,
Not at the beginning, anyway.
That was seriously my downfall, because that's what I try to be. I try to be the drunkest guy at the table every time in a home game.
That's your move?
Yeah. Drunk just
you don't lose
equals-
concentration on the cards?
No. No, I absolutely do, but I make it really obnoxious, and I put a lot of money in, and then I don't know. It seems like when you're drunk, like the lows don't hurt so bad, and the highs like are more frequent almost. Like it just seems like you win more when you're drunk. At least me.
And me too, as it turns out.
Yeah.
I get nervous playing home games with you and your friends because they know what they're doing.
Well, you had self-deprecated about your poker skills on the episode that Har was on before.
Yeah.
And Har was there, and he was like, "Dude, I know you're worried about it, but you're a fine poker player."
Yeah, which listen back to that episode, Har. I know what you said about me, and it was not that I was a good poker player. So I knew everybody was blowing smoke of, oh, this guy, he looks like PJ kind of. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. And then I bought in for $15, lost that almost immediately. Right?
Pretty quick.
I was
Pretty quickly.
Sean went out before me, so I was the second man out. But it didn't take me long. I had taken out 30 for the occasion, so 15 more went into the pot. How long would you say before I went out on that one?
I'd say
That lasted a little longer.
No.
I was a little more scared.
I think the first time was longer than the second time.
Really?
Actually, yeah.
Everybody else was saying all in. I just thought that was what you were supposed to do. So then I lost that, and then you fronted me how much money?
I think 15.
Yeah, and I made that work for me. I don't remember how.
There was one hand where you got all in, and I can't remember what it was. Somehow you made 3 of a kind. You won like the main pot, so that put you up to like I don't know, $30 or something.
That's right, buddy.
And I won
Doubled
the
it
side,
right then and there.
I won the side pot with Pocket Rockets, American Airlines.
How much did you lose at the end of the night?
Oh man, I don't even know. Like $60 or $80. I felt like such an idiot. Give you tips in the gas station parking lot, and being like, just play tight, pick good cards. but then again, that's not to say that's what I'm gonna play. But you asked me how to survive with sharks.
Yeah. How do you think I did? How was my gameplay? Like, I really started to lose it at the end. I mean, technically, I was winning some. I came out, $40?
Yeah, I think we figured $40 ahead. Not that you got all of it.
What do you mean?
Well, just,
Oh, yeah. But
I
$40 ahead for me, and this is the frustrating thing is, like, I know I was doing well at the end, but I don't want to blame it on my drunkenness because I do that too much. But I really don't remember the cards that came out for most of the night.
Me neither. I blame it on drunkenness, though. There was some point to where you were up. You had a lot of money in front of you, enough to give me $15. So I take $15 off you and chips by the time you'd gone up this much.
To pay you back for what you'd already fronted me, right?
Right. I had pretty much gone broke out of my own pocket. So I was like, oh, hey, so just give me that $15. You win.
Happy to do it, sir.
You win like 4 more huge pots.
Let's text everybody that was there that night. What the fuck did I have? I was awesome, though.
Yeah,
I was
can't
awesome.
remember. But, and then I lose it, and then I'm done. And I'm not like moody like other players can be at the table because I'm out. Like, I'm just like, I'm done. Like, by this time, it was like pretty late. Gabe, who we'll get to, was up a lot of money at this point, and I didn't want to make him feel like, oh, you can't leave because you're up so much money.
Right.
I was like, I'm done. But then once everyone else agreed
Was
to
this
stay,
a dickhead move on my part, by the way?
No.
Okay.
What do you mean? Giving me free money?
Yeah.
No. You did not want me to quit. You were on a roll, and I think that you just didn't want to play without me playing.
Yeah, is that so wrong?
No, not at all, especially when you give me money. But so so I say, okay, I'll borrow 15 off you. Well, not borrow. You were gifting it to me.
Sure.
Let's make that clear.
Yes, of course.
So I was like, okay, I'll play with like 15 or whatever. I think I ended up taking like 20. Like I just grabbed an extra little stack of chips. You had so many at this point anyway. Yeah, and then I lost that immediately.
Yeah.
And I think you won like one more pot in that time.
And then I remember I still wanted to play. You were out again.
Yeah.
And I was like, what, we're done now? We're done? I was pretty drunk.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing that to be an asshole. Like, I just really didn't want to stop
I went to the bathroom
playing.
at one point and came out, and Gabe was like laying his head on the table, all tired, with like just mountains of chips in front of him.
Yeah, but how much did that guy buy in for? I know he was the big winner of the night.
He was the big winner, but he also bought in for the most, or maybe second most to me.
This guy sits down. I've only met him a couple of times before. Through you, like he was helping us out with some biz. And
Well,
then,
he works at a bar too.
yeah, that's what I meant, obviously. But I'd only met him briefly, and he knew that you played poker, and like he knows you through our good friend Matty Ribel,
Yeah.
movieguyspodcast.com.
Well, I had met him through him.
And I remember the story you told was that the only thing that I can remember you telling me about him, so I would get an idea of his character, was that you went to a poker game and he showed up in a Tigger costume, was it?
No. It was at his house, and eventually he changed into a lion costume. But you sit down, you sit down with the guy.
That's
and
almost
he says,
funnier that he didn't show up, like he left the table and then came back later.
Yeah, I think we were all in a smoke break, and he disappeared. But he comes up to me, and I don't want to incriminate him. We'll say cooked salmon, and everyone should know what we're talking about. He walks up to me and says, "Hey, my name's Gabe. I heard you like cooking salmon and playing poker. I'm a guy you want to know." And then he sold me some salmon, like from his car that day.
Don't trust salmon from a car, buddy.
And it was great, and it was delicious, and I had a wonderful evening.
And so that's how I knew him,
Yeah.
basically, is because he could sometimes give us salmon.
yeah.
But then
But we invite him to the poker game. I had played poker with him before.
Uh-huh.
And so had Sean and Matt, who were also here. We all played at his house once.
And so Gabe shows up. We were pretty sure that your wife wasn't going to like him. Isn't that what we had?
Yeah.
Alvita doesn't like some people for some pretty funny reasons sometimes.
Yeah. And I think just knowing that, like, since we knew him, we were able to decide, you know, I don't think she's going to like this guy. This is not the type of person she likes.
And it's hard to explain because he makes a lot of jokes, like he's real rapid fire, you know.
Yeah.
And some of them are home runs, and some of them aren't. And then some of them aren't. And then I feel like I'm that same way. So like, I don't know.
But it's every word out of his mouth.
It's every word out
Is
of
a
his mouth.
tangent.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's weird about him is eats a lot of salmon, does not drink at all.
Yeah.
So like it's not even like a drunken hyper.
Nope.
Like it's just him.
I'm gonna say
super aggressive at the point. Like the very first hand, it's like a 50-cent blind, and he raises it up to $5.
Yeah, he really loves the sound of his own voice. Fortunately, I love the sound of his voice too.
Yeah. Not everyone did when they were losing to him.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, he was a big bully. Like the second he sat down, he flips down his aviators and he's just ready to party, dude.
But yeah. And that's what he was doing, was partying. And I'm not telling tales out of school. Hard didn't like him at all. and Sean didn't like him at all. And these are two of my good friends, like people I've known for a long time.
Because of his aggressiveness?
Because yeah, I think so, and because like he was in every hand, and like I think it's like, oh, this guy's gonna lose a lot of money, which he really did at first. But then no matter what he had, like it was the winner every single time, and you know they don't want to lose too much money. They'd rather like not drag it out, but like pace the game, make it like more of an enjoyable thing. But you've got this guy who's talking so loud that no one else can really have a conversation, and he's making it like $4 every time just to play the hand. And yeah, they were getting pretty annoyed.
Then we all go out to smoke. We come back, and he's wearing a witch in the wardrobe costume. No, I liked him. I thought he was a cool guy.
Yeah, I thought he was hilarious.
I feel bad he lost so much money to me. What if that was true? What if that's how the story ended?
I mean, theoretically, he had like all the money on the table, and then you came back and took a good chunk of it.
Yeah, I remember he kept saying, "This guy's a slow play, man. This guy's a slow play."
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. I think it meant I paced myself and I was too afraid to race.
I remember the first thing he said to Alvina, and she had already decided that she wasn't going to like him.
Right.
So he had asked me, he's like, hey, is your wife bringing any hot single friends? And I was like, oh, I don't think so, man. And then she comes outside and gives him a bitch look. And he's like, hey, are you bringing any hot single friends? And she goes, no, I don't have any. And he's like, yes, you do. Your MySpace don't fucking lie. And then she loved him. She loved him from there on out.
That's a good line. We've talked about him enough now. We should get this guy on the show.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a good fit.
He was going to record that night, but we were playing poker instead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know, though, because when I think you were cooking up some pink steaks, and he'd walked out there, and he knows about the show, right? But he's never listened.
Yeah.
And he asked us at one point, he's like, so let me ask you guys, what kind of downloads do you get per week? And
I was honest with him. Let's not say it on the show.
No, of course not. But
I didn't exaggerate.
No, you didn't exaggerate.
I told him a very respectable number.
Yes, which is an honest number also.
Yeah.
And his reaction when you told him our weekly downloads, you got to be fucking kidding me, man.
I'm all in. Yeah, I'm gonna kick it, pocket rockets and ticket. If you got what it takes, you can play high stakes. I'm all in. These ladies ain't ladies unless they your ladies. Put your hand on a monster, that's what it takes. And if you got what it takes,